I would like to hear your journey from where you started, how you got to know NLP, and how was your journey?
Long answer, but I like the story. I started doing volunteer work at an alcohol and drug rehab, right? When they had these all over the country. Because, it's just like what you did. You went and you hung out and you helped out. And I was getting into it. And I said, I want to take a class in it. Now, this was like early 1980s. There was no internet. There was no hypnosis training, right? There was no way to get there. It's just, how do you do this? And I stumbled across a seminar, and it was NLP for sales, right? NLP for business in Chicago, where I was. So I went to these things, and I really liked it, right? And I was talking to the instructor, and they were doing the mirroring and matching and how to use language. This was for business and sales, right? And I was talking to the instructor. I said, well, I'm into alcohol and drug counseling and all this other stuff. And he goes, oh, you'd really like this. He gave me the name of another seminar. And I just went and, I fell in love with it. The real story is I was at this demo for NLP for therapy. So I was at this demo and they were doing stuff and they did the mapping across some modalities, like to dislike. And no one would volunteer. So I volunteered. And I said, well, I don't want to start eating food, but there's no food I want to stop. I'm an athlete. I stay in shape. I eat pretty healthy. But I need to eat more fruit. I didn't eat fruit. And of course, a couple of people in the audience go, that's stupid. Fruit's good for you, which is like what a lot of therapists would say. Logic ain't going to work. So anyway, they did this technique where they took fruit and what I love, they put them together. And a couple of days later, I found myself eating an apple. Just picked up, no thought, just picked up an apple and I'm eating it, right? And so that's the day I signed up for NLP training in the early 80s. And it was new then. We didn't even have a manual, for God's sakes, to be honest with you. Every day, we did a few weekends, but every weekend you'd show up, they were like mimeographed, handwritten sheets. That's how, they were making this stuff up as they went along. Now we have manuals and everybody has their own style. And then I got into the NLP and then I got back into the hypnosis. And I had the ability to go back to school. And so I did go get my clinical psych degrees and all that. I don't really use it, but I've got it. So that's my story. And it's, I was just lucky, I guess. It was for the grace of God. I was in the right place at the right time to learn a skill set. And it's still, and to this day, all these, almost 35, 40 years later, that's why I always say, don't stray too far from the basics.
Yeah.
So that's my story. That's how I got into this.
Can I add one more thing? Ask one more thing. What do you really love about NLP? Means what actually, what is the inner force that drive you to do more these kind of work with the?
Well, I just intuitively knew where I clashed with a lot of the analytical therapy. Knowing it will not change it. And I think coming from addictions, where there's a lot of people, they know that they're an alcoholic. They know it's going to kill them. They'll lose their job, they know it. It does not stop them. A lot of insight therapy. No, I don't think insight therapy works if then you do something, And so when I stumbled across this, and eating that apple was a magic moment because I didn't think about it. And I said, this is the answer. You got to get the change this way, not this way. And, and again, I was teaching a class yesterday on memory reconsolidation. And this girl, she's locked into like logical thought. And I always say, well, if logic worked, there would be no mental health treatment anywhere in the world because people are basically, this is bad for me, I will stop.
Yeah.
Right? But I shouldn't drink as much coffee as I do. I know it's bad for me. Logic ain't going to stop it, right? But if you change from the inside out, then it worked. That's what drives me. And then it's like magical.
Thank you so much, Dr. Horton, for your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
All right,
care.
keep in touch. Let
Yes.
me know how I can help. And Godspeed.